I've been literally addicted to TikTok over the past couple of months and found this video of a guy talking about frogs and how much of a freak they look like.
Animals that are so ridiculous that I refuse to acknowledge their existence based on principle. Today we're strictly talking about frogs. I just googled weird frogs and that rabbit hole was so much deeper than I ever expected.
I looked further down the rabbit hole and look at these things. Some of them could pass as frogs, but some of them give me a football pitch and a decent run up on these things. I'm scoring a Tim Howard classic every time. I divulged far too deep down this rabbit hole, and instead of just describing the horrors of the absolute units I saw, I decided to instead put them into a tier list with these 5 tiers. We have best friend material, would feel some remorse if I punted it, that's definitely a frog, would definitely Zeppelin, and freak of nature. If I sound tired, it's because I am. I'm meant to be working on my dissertation instead of looking at weird frogs and writing a script about them at 4 AM. My mental health is declining and I need serious attention. First off, we have Wallace's gliding frog, and immediately off the bat, this absolutely terrifies me. These things have the ability to jump and glide a maximum recorded distance of 50 feet, which to put in perspective is the same distance as 3 large SUVs or an entire semi-truck. What makes it worse is that they're bright green and yellow, their feet look like wings, and they have the eyes of someone that will never stop judging you. These guys get slotted right into would definitely Zeppelin, purely because if one of these things came gliding towards me that distance, they're getting prime Ibrahimovic bicycle kicked into the stratosphere, and I promise you that is a lot fucking further than 3 SUVs away, fella. The shovel-headed tree frog, he's shaped like a friend. First off, he just looks extremely polite. The Latin name for this guy is Triprion spatulus, with Triprion meaning it's from the Hylidae family, more commonly known as tree frogs and their allies, and spatulus literally translating to spoon. It's most commonly found in the southwestern coastline of Mexico and can be distinguished from the others because of the fact that it seems like he lies a bit too much, but I believe him. Can you honestly look at this guy and tell me that you wouldn't believe every single word that comes from his very long mouth? I know I would. What I found funny is looking at this picture, I'd assumed that it was a parent and a child until I found out it's actually an act called amplexus, which to the 98% of you that didn't know what that word means.
Oh, they fucking. Oh, they fucking!
The glass frog is what you'd find if you looked up what sort of fucking thought process went into this thing's evolution, Darwin, in the dictionary. I don't know what this thing was thinking when its ancestor decided to crawl out the water in the Paleozoic era, but I doubt its first choice was to go hopping from tree to tree, showing off its heart, lungs and liver, going anything from the trolley! Researchers seem to believe that being literally transparent is the ultimate form of camouflage, and it would be if their organs weren't clear as day, but that's evened out by the fact they're arboreal, which pretty much means they most exclusively live in trees or their home, and only come out to mate. Me too, fella, me and you in the same boat, let's go. I'm so lonely. What's making this even worse is I think that it's one of those frogs that helps itself digest its food or get its food down its throat by literally just inverting its eyes, like pushing its eyes into its throat to force the food down. That's not healthy. A recent discovery in 2015 was made about a subspecies of the glass frog was first seen and then called the Kermit frog due to its similarities with, you guessed it, Tyson Fury. I'm slapping this thing straight in, that's definitely a frog because look at it, it's a frog. I don't want to punt it because I'd like to keep my shoes clean and test it, but at the same time he just looks a little bit too devious. Next we have the hairy frog. Freak, absolute freak. This thing is the equivalent of Wolverine and I fucking hate it. The hairs on the back of its legs make me feel uneasy, and when I searched up hairy frog I found this, which wouldn't be out of place in Bloodborne. If the Bloodsoft beast was real, this would be it.
The beast is demonic in nature. Very icky, no good.
When I say that it's Wolverine, its main defense mechanism is the fact that it just breaks its own fucking hands and uses the broken bones as claws or barbs. And what makes it worse is the fact that scientists literally have no idea what happens afterwards. Does it just live with the broken hands for the rest of its life? Does it have Wolverine healing factor and heals the hands? I don't know, and I don't want to fucking know. Thank you, goodbye, I'm bleaching my fucking eyeballs. The Amazon horned frog, this thing is a weird fucking piece of work. I looked at pictures and thought it was big, but then saw one in a guy's hand, and I hope to fuck that that is a fully grown man's hand, because if not, then chances are I have stepped on a lot of these little bastards. I mean, it looks like a thing created in a character customizer, but you only get a certain amount of points to work with, like they put all of it into the size of its mouth and not enough into his legs. The only time these things look happy is in art of them. The real life, they're either really pissed, thinking, or devoid of emotion. In terms of practicality, it is a hide-and-seek champion, and I'm disappointed it took me so long to find where this fucker was in this image. Its mouth, while being disturbingly big, also means that it can catch and eat its prey in one go, including other frogs and small rodents, by the way.
Michael! Don't leave me here! Michael! Michael!
It's also known as the Pac-Man frog because of its resemblance to, yep, you guessed it, Tyson Fury. I'm going to stick him in would feel some remorse because he looks like he's the bloke you'd see at the football or the rugby and have a pint with, but wouldn't go out of your way to have a pint with him in any other circumstance.
Well, you just knew that was going to happen! That was going to happen!
Next up, the desert rain frog. I want this little bundle of flob and blubber to be my best man at my wedding. I would like him to be the godfather of my children, and I just want to give this one a hug and tell him that everything's going to be okay. Like, who hurt him? He looks so sad. If I were to say, what does a frog do to you? Chances are you give the generic response of either jumps, goes ribbit, or goes through metamorphosis from tadpole to frog. The desert rain frog just absolutely fucking none of the above. The thing literally just burrows underground during the day, eats bugs, and screams. It belongs to the Breviciptidae family, and every single one of these fellas can only be described as circle, and they're going in the best friend material right now. Your Honour, if the jury has any further questions as to why this is my verdict, I present this. The Goliath frog is literally my worst nightmare. From nose to ass, it can grow up to 12.6 inches. I repeat, nose to ass. That does not include the legs. I do not trust any supposed to be small animal whose body is more than 3 times the size of my penis. For reference, I'm sure you've seen this video of Coyote Peterson with the frog, right?
Yes, I know, but have you not figured out that you've already been captured? Yeah?
Well, this is a smoky jungle frog, and they're normally 7.3 inches in length. The Goliath frog is quite literally twice the size of this, using only its body. What scares me the most about them is the fact that they live 15 years, which is about the same as a household cat, and their diet consists of small snakes, insects, and again, rodents and other frogs. I'm going to place him right in the middle, just because while he is a fucking freak of nature, the way these things fight is absolutely hilarious. Talk about a 5-star frog splash. The mutant frog. Okay, it's time for my favourite part, the quick fire round, but this time we're doing it with fictional frogs, because why the fuck not? Here we go. We saw him once in Loki, he looks pretty cool and would feel some remorse in punting the fuck out of this guy. I would love to have dinner with him, best friend material. Slippy is a bitch and I would beat the fuck out of this little fucker for fun. I have no ill will towards Kermit, yet I do not wish to be his friend, although I will put him in would feel some remorse because of Smitty's modified GTA 5 videos.
Which way is town from here? Right back the way you came.
Exactly the same reason. This is our best friend boy. I mean, look at him. He sits there and goes, get in the bin. Where's he headed on the tier list then? Up top. Yep, thought so. Given the chance, I would beat this little son of a bitch to within an inch of his life. This man is an absolute freak. Get your that is the only way to travel ass out of here, my boy. I'll beat the fuck out you. Polytoad, I could happily dropkick this man from the halfway line. Greninja line, I do not care for. Krogan, Toxicroak, I would feel some remorse in kicking the shit out of them. Timpole and Palpitoad can get fucked. Seismitoad is the best friend material. I had him in all my Gen 5 teams. I love him and his little bulbous head so much. Is he a frog? I've no idea. These guys would be in best friend, however we do literally pump these guys for fun and I do feel remorse for them. Do not, I repeat, do not fuck the frog. Is definitely a frog. The purple frog is an absolute abomination to society. It spends most of its time underground, so why is it so damp looking? They come from the Western Ghats in India and have been well known to the locals, and the tadpoles just got described first in 1918. But there's not a lot of data on them to date, and is mostly because of the fact that they spend most of their adult lives underground and only really come out to mate. Which again begs the question, why the fuck are they so wet? The males are quite a bit smaller than the females, and they also mate through this amplexus malarkey. To describe it better, the female walks to a suitable location to lay her eggs, while the male literally sits on her back and fertilizes the eggs immediately, which for this individual species of frog is quite literally the funniest image of a frog I have ever seen. I mean, I know they're underwater, but they just look so wet and flat and in pain, and it's just hilarious. I just want to pump this thing so much, but I would feel a small bit of remorse about it. If the purple frog and the desert sand frog had a baby, it would be the turtle frog. It burrows itself underground about a meter in desert areas without standing water. So why the fuck is it wet? Although if I did kick this thing to Pluto, I would feel a little bit bad. I feel like if real life animals were Pokemon, the Budget's frog would be the evolution of the turtle frog, and I guarantee you have seen this fella before, whether that be him screaming or the video literally titled Idiot Frog Walks into Wall Like the Fucking Stupid Amphibian he is. He looks like if I squeezed him he'd make a little sound effect, and I love him, and he is definitely best friend material because he actually has a solid diet, mainly eating insects and snails. Just kidding, he also eats rodents and other frogs. Thank you for listening to my insane rambling. This will probably just be a one-off, just because frogs are fucking stupid creatures, but if there's another similar situation, I'll probably go on another Andrew Tate rant about it.
You are poor, you are weak, you are stupid, you are ugly, and you are short.
But if there's one thing you take away from this video, let it be this. Do not fuck the frog.